This is a Tracking the Tropics update with the certified most accurate weather team at First Coast News.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lewis Turner, Chief Meteorologist here at First Coast News, and we are just updating. We're going to update early. We're going to update often, keeping you kind of abreast as we walk into and get ready for a big old 4th of July holiday weekend. And I know this has been on front of a lot of folks' minds. So we've got the big yellow area that has been monitored carefully by both us here at First Coast News and the National Hurricane Center. Just that low chance, that 30% chance kind of lingering for development of a tropical system over the next 7 days. We're going to watch this very carefully. We're going to continue to monitor. We're going to have a lot more, though. Stay with us on First Coast News Plus as we continue the stream and watching the tropics. Are we on the internet, Mr. Jimmy? Yes. All right, I got Jimmy right off here, off to my side, helping me run the ones and twos. It is so good to see everybody here on the World Wide Web, or whether you're streaming on First Coast News Plus, wherever you are consuming this big afternoon. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to do this forecast. I'm going to talk a little of Florida as a whole. We're going to look at Jacksonville. We're going to look at Tampa. We're going to look at today. And we're going to look at next few days. And, of course, we're going to address the big yellow blob in the room, the monitored area here from the National Hurricane Center. But already, if we've got satellite picture over, and you kind of getting the vibes of a nice upper low, the big spin over the entirety between the Gulf side and the Atlantic side. So you can just look at this and already tell we've got just unstable life happening in our atmosphere right now. Now, this is not atypical. This is not abnormal. For this time of year, you get a front that would stall out over, let's say, northeast Florida, which is exactly what we're forecasting. You get this over lingering over the bathwater of the Gulf Stream on the Atlantic side. Of course, that river of water that runs some 5-10 degrees cooler than the surrounding water that runs about 50 to 60 miles off the east coast of Florida. You get that coupled with a stationary front, you get the potential for a spin up. Now, on the other side of Florida, you get to the Gulf side. Of course, that is already bathwater. So any thunderstorms that get activated right along that battle of dry air north of the front and somewhat cooler and much more tropical air, moist, warm air to the south, of course, that can lead to low pressure riding right along the train tracks of that low. So let's look at the long-range futurecast and tell you what I'm talking about so you see the synoptic picture, the big weather picture when it comes to the front. So let's get through a Wednesday, another wet day between Jacksonville, down 95, across I-4. For our friends in Tampa, we're going to get a lot of rain here over the next 5-7 days. So one way or the other, the big takeaway with whether a tropical system truly develops or not is that we've got a rainmaker here. Wind will be a minor story, but really we've got ourselves a rainmaker as we go into a big 4th of July holiday weekend and beyond. So looking at that front finally stalling out as we get into Thursday, trying to maybe dip a little south, backing up as well. There's the potential there, but either way, forecast modeling suggesting perhaps a surface low does get developed right along our front here. If this modeling, which using European computer modeling, the European model, were to hold true, the consensus would be that this would be more of an Atlantic system moving perhaps up towards the coast of the Carolinas. We're seeing some back and forth, though, and why that map has stayed yellow, has stated that 20 to 30% probability of any sort of tropical development is because how almost windshield wiper action we've been seeing with computer modeling. But this wind pattern would suggest low as you're getting south of our front here, and the potential for that kind of kink in the front. You're getting those winds more out of the southwest, and then, of course, you get above that low, you're getting winds more out of the northeast. It's specifically impacting northeast Florida and southeast Georgia. So as you get to Friday, breezier conditions, but breezier conditions certainly could be our friend in this case when in the form of wind shear is anything developing along the northeast Florida coastline. Getting into Saturday, so of course 4th of July, fireworks on a lot of people's mind. we'll be watching the rain chances certainly for the Tampa and the surrounding area. For Jacksonville, for Northeast Florida, for Southeast Georgia, Brunswick across to Waycross and down into St. Augustine. Maybe some of our southern counties continue to see those rain chances as we get to Friday night. But really, we may actually see some dry air push in. We're going to continue to fine-tune. We're only at Tuesday. Let's get a day or two into this as we fine-tune what's going to happen Friday night. But I say all this. We do have the weather impact alert in place for Thursday and Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Widespread rain chances, certainly. But let's watch carefully Friday. I don't want us to go out and cancel any plans just yet. Let's just have in the back of our minds the backup plans going as we get there. So let's go around and take a look at what's happening in the here and now around our areas, around the First Coast, around towards the Tampa Bay area as well. So already seeing some thunderstorms begin to pop up here for our Tuesday afternoon. We've got the heat, we've got the humidity going, dynamics just in place. We've already talked about how unsettled our atmosphere has been. Getting down, seeing some thunderstorms already. Nassau County, we've had a few for downtown. Those are beginning to weaken a bit. And then inland southeast Georgia, so out towards Folkston, out towards Waycross, and into Charleston County, we're seeing some of those pop-ups as well. Not so worried about the gusty winds or the severe level with these storms at this point. We'll give it an hour or two, see if the heat of the day really begins to pop these. I'm more concerned about just how frequent the lightning has been with some of these thunderstorms now. So moving up, I mentioned Waycross in the clear for now, but you can see this line of showers and storms coming out of Homerville up and towards Waycross. So over the next 45 minutes or so, I'd be watching Ware and Pierce County very carefully, just for the heavy downpours for this afternoon. Over towards Fernandina now. So this shower and thunderstorm coming right off Buccaneer Trail and heading over towards Fernandina Beach. So this would be downtown Fernandina. But what I am seeing as this system has started to approach the Intracoastal Waterway and the bridge over into kind of the greater Amelia Island, Fernandina Beach area, it's beginning to lose a little bit of its pop. But I guarantee you, if you're out on Fernandina Beach or you got friends and loved ones out there right now, downtown Fernandina, you're hearing those rumbles of thunder because we've had pretty frequent lightning. Pokestick down to the Tampa area right now. So pretty good line of showers lining up right here along the bay, out towards the beaches. You look offshore just a bit. I mean, you're seeing some of those big thunderstorms offshore as they kind of weaken and begin to dip more towards the south. But we'll watch some of these showers and storms carefully. Ruskin, you're getting pounded right now. And then northern side of the bay towards Palm Harbor, a few thunderstorms as well. So the rumbles of thunder are happening. Looking at our future cast for the next couple of days. So let's get into a Wednesday, another day of weather impact alerts across our state. Really, as we look even toward the morning hours, Tampa could be getting into some of those showers and storms. So we're talking morning commute for Tampa, perhaps seeing some of those storms. For Jacksonville, notice our window. Tampa's still getting that rain by 4 or 5 o'clock. Look at our window 2 to 4 o'clock again for a Wednesday. Not overly concerned with any widespread severe, of course, in any of these isolated cells that pop. Could get those gusty winds up to 50 miles an hour. But we've seen damage already and good damage reports with the 40-mile-an-hour winds. The primary thought, though, I have for the rain and thunderstorms here for the Jacksonville area, for Northeast Florida, we've already had a good bit of rain in certain pockets, and it's those nuisance pockets. It's the San Marco area. It is Riverside downtown. We've seen the flash flooding occur already. So with all of that rain that's already fallen, if we get one good thunderstorm, and these are so slow moving with the steering currents being so weak, with them kind of sitting and just dumping the rain until they essentially rain themselves out, we could have that potential for some flash flooding. We'll go into a Thursday. That's why we still have our weather impact alert in play for Thursday. This is being the height of the evening commute right up and down the 95 corridor. We'll see some more of those showers and some of those storms. What I am seeing, at least on our higher resolution in-house modeling through Friday, not necessarily noticing any major kind of tropical spin-ups. You see, so I'm not seeing the big circulation, maybe a little bit of kind of a low wanting to develop over Florida, but for the most part, I mean, looking at Friday afternoon even, some dry air for Northeast Florida trying to punch in. So that's why I'm saying don't quite cancel those 4th of July plans yet. All right, so back to the bigger picture again, if you're just kind of tuning into our stream, just kind of getting going here, we are watching carefully the development over the next 7 days, that 30% chance. We saw that front and the kind of the twofold issue, threefold really, upper atmosphere dynamics, so upper low, watching that front stall. And then, I mean, if you look at our sea surface temperatures, mid-upper 80s on the Gulf side, when you see the Atlantic side, so you get closer to the coastline, we have even upper 70s registered for coastal Georgia, but generally we're in the lower 80s along the Atlantic side, except for this river that I mentioned, the Gulf Stream. So this warm water river that runs south to north right up the Atlantic coast, right off about 50 miles off the coast of Jacksonville, 60 off the coast of Hilton Head, South Carolina, off the coast of Carolina. So this could provide a little of that lower level fuel for some of that thunderstorm activity and would line up pretty good and pretty beam with that front. With that in mind, that could create a spin up in some modeling suggesting that low developing here off the coast of the Carolinas. Atmospheric spin. So we're going high up in the atmosphere. We're looking at vorticity now. So this would be kind of a little next level we'd use in the forecasting. So in the upper levels of our atmosphere, if we get the vorticity, the spin, of course that impacts what's happening at the surface. You get the spin in the upper atmosphere, you get a little bit of lift going. We're seeing a lot of that. That would be Saturday even over the Atlantic side of things. So let's key in and see how the Hurricane Center adjusts with some of the modeling. If they continue to show a low developing over the Atlantic, we'll see if that yellow blob shifts, perhaps a little more towards the east and away from peninsular Florida. We'll just have to wait and see if that is the impact. Wind shear, so for a true stronger tropical storm, for instance, to develop a closed low, warm core, something to be truly tropical as opposed to, say, a subtropical or even a depression. Got to have so many like perfect factors, right? You got to have the warm water, you got to have the low beginning to spin and to close and cut off, and you got to have essentially calm atmospheric winds around it. Very finicky, these tropical systems. So I'm encouraged by a good bit of wind shear that we're seeing that could potentially tear this system apart, a potential system, I should emphasize, if at all. So we'll watch that, again, with our other modeling. Now, let's look at excessive rain risk. Let's go Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Excessive rain risk, one of those things that the Weather Prediction Center watches and issues. This would be the potential for maybe seeing some flash flooding, right? So you got to get that heavy, blinding, flash flooding rain. Right now, essentially all of our area from I-4, that corridor from Tampa, Orlando, Daytona, and Jacksonville, we're in that marginal, so kind of 1 out of 4 risk for the potential for some flash flooding rains. And I want to continue to watch that here for Jacksonville on Wednesday because the areas that we've mentioned and we've already seen a little flash flooding and even some damage with some flooding in vehicles. Fast forward to our Thursday now, a little bit higher. Slight is the verbiage that the Weather Prediction Center uses, and you see it from the Storm Prediction Center as well. This slight verbiage is actually 2 on the scale, so a little bit higher, in fact. So really Thursday, going to be keying in on some pretty heavy rainfall rates, maybe in that 3 to 4, 4.5 inch rainfall rate over the storm period for our Gulf Coast side, for our Tampa side. Up in Jacksonville, not overly impressed with the rainfall totals as we go through the 6-day, 7-day period as a whole. And then Friday, in fact, we're going to kind of zoom back down to Tampa, where that is where you're still kind of in that marginal risk. But why I'm saying let's not cancel any fireworks plans just yet for Friday night, and especially in Jacksonville. While I do still think we'll get those afternoon showers and thunderstorms, certainly we'll have that risk. We're always going to have that here summertime. By Friday, maybe some drier air comes in, so even the Weather Prediction Center has taken Jacksonville, Northeast Florida, out of the highest risk for excessive rainfall. So I'm going to leave it at that. We continue to watch, continue to check in here on our streaming sites, whether Jacksonville,